a headshot.
Get ready to move. No.
What is up, guys? Today I'll be talking about the Famas known as the FR5.56 in Modern Warfare, and if you guys have seen my 117 kills gameplay on Gunrunner, then you know that the FR5.56 can be a really good weapon. If you guys are wondering why I sound so different from my other videos, I recently got a Blue Yeti microphone recommended by a good friend of mine, and I'm still playing around with the settings to get the best quality. But anyways, let's get back into the game. The FR5.56 is super underrated, and you probably won't see many people using it simply because it's a burst rifle, but like any other ARs in the game, they're all decent in their own ways once you have the right attachments on it. And I'm telling you guys this now, this gun is secretly overpowered once you do have the right attachments on it. If you've been playing Modern Warfare since the release like me, I'm sure most of us here have been blasted in the face by a 7.25 countless times, as well as getting lasered in the head by an M4 from ridiculous ranges. But what if I was to tell you the Famas is a combination of both? The gun itself without any attachments is kinda hard to use, but that's just like many other weapons in the game. For example, the scar in the AK's recoil is ridiculous if you don't have any attachments to compensate for it. And with the Famas, you can end up bursting someone up to 3 or 4 times and still get hit markers because of its lack of range. But if you do get a good burst in the upper body or the head, it can kill in one burst. Just to show you guys the attachments that I'm rocking on my Famas, I have the monolithic suppressor to suppress my shots and stay low on the radar. It also gives me additional range and accuracy, which is really nice to have on a precision rifle like this. I think the 24.4-inch sniper barrel is a must since it increases the damage range drastically. Increase in bullet velocity makes the bullet travel faster. Say you and an enemy are shooting at each other from far away, your bullets will travel and kill him way before his second bullet even reaches you. I'm using the Viper optics, which is the sight you see me using in the video, because the iron sight is dumb thick and I'm not a fan of it. And I have the stippled grip tape and the FSS tack wrap to increase my ADS speed and my sprint to fire speed, which is pretty helpful for running and gunning. The gun itself doesn't have much recoil to compensate for since it's not a spray and pray rifle, so you don't really need an underbarrel, which is why I don't have one equipped. As I mentioned earlier, the gun itself isn't all that great if you don't have the right attachments, which explains why not many people use it. Matter of fact, I had to use the gun on single fire in the early stages of leveling this thing up. But to make things easier, you could hop into hardcore mode since you can one-shot everybody and level up your gun that way. The Famas is definitely one of the weapons that rewards players with superior aim. If you're a player with decent aim, definitely pick this up and give it a try, because who knows, it might become your new favorite weapon. You just gotta be patient with the grind in the early stages of the gun, because it's definitely worth it in the long run. You'll be dropping M4 players at range before they even get to shoot. You'll actually have a chance to get in 7.25 players up close, since you can kill them just as fast. Since you're able to take out players with one burst, their teammates will have no idea where you shot from when you're rocking the suppressor. I don't want to say that this gun is broken, since it definitely requires a little more skill to use, but it can be overpowered when using the right hands. It may look very overpowered throughout this video, but that's just me showing off how good this thing can be. One bursting your enemies feel extremely satisfying, but making sure all 3 rounds from that burst to hit your enemy is not so easy. If even one of those rounds miss and the other 2 didn't land a headshot, you'll have to burst again to make the kill. So pretty much the more bullets you miss from that burst, the more you have to burst to make the kill, which puts you at a disadvantage against fully automatic weapons. So you certainly don't want to be hip firing this thing like an SMG unless you're point blank from an enemy. Hip firing should be your last option since bullets might not go where you want them to. It is an assault rifle after all. This thing can be a beast, especially in ground war when enemies are all lined up for you, and you can rack up your kills easily, but keep in mind that bigger maps means longer ranges, and distance will affect your damage drop-off. Another important thing to note is that you should understand your weapon, meaning that you should know the advantages and disadvantages of your gun. Know which routes to take and which ones to avoid to give you the upper hand in a firefight. For example, if you're running around with a shotgun, you want to avoid running in the open and stick to areas with more cover and corners because you want to keep your enemies close. With the Famas, you'll want to keep your enemies at range to give yourself a little breathing space, meaning that you're leaving room for error. So if you miss your target, you can easily recover and take more shots. Just like other weapons that you may be using a lot, you'll start to feel confident and you'll get a better feeling for it the more you use them. So if you use this rifle enough, you'll know if you're able to one-burst people at certain ranges. This allows you to switch over to different targets immediately and rack up more kills. So somebody actually tested all the weapons in a private match and posted a weapon damage guide on Reddit. I don't know how accurate his results are, but based on his data, and we're talking about body shots here, not headshots, the FR5.56 has the second lowest DPS of all the assault rifles, with the SCAR having the lowest of them all. But the FR5.56 has an RPM of 1250. That is ridiculously high for an AR because the MP7 has a second highest RPM of 940, which is still pretty high. Although an SMG losing its RPM to an AR makes me doubt his data, throughout this video you can see how quickly this thing can drop someone. So it certainly feels like the FR5.56 does have an insane RPM, because the 3 rounds being fired from one burst is pretty much glued to each other as if you're lasering someone. The low DPS is only due to the fact that it's a burst rifle, making it so that this weapon may not be viable for everyone. However, if you're a high risk, high reward type of player, I guarantee you will have a lot of fun using this weapon. I hope I'm not ruining this for some people by exposing how good this weapon is. But again, I don't think this is something they will nerf because I feel like they balance the range aspects really well, even with all the range attachments you can throw on the gun. And also due to the fact that you actually have to aim and hit your shots, because most of the time in this game, if you miss, you die. But anyways, this video is nothing more but for me to test out my mic, and the whole Famas thing is just a bonus. But for real though, give this gun a shot and be patient when you're leveling this thing up, because you'll have a lot of fun in the long run. And that's about all I have for you guys. I'll leave you guys with the rest of the video. If you enjoyed, hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. Peace!